Hello, so in this video we are going to install the IDE, that's the Integrated Development Environment. But before we do that, we are first going to install the Python packages. So let's go on to the Python website itself, the official website, and you'd look for downloads. Based on the type of system you're using, you would select. So in my case, I'm using Windows, so I'll choose this, download for Windows. So I'll save that to my computer. I've been able to save it, and here is the version for Windows, and it's Python 3.9. That's the latest version as at this time. So to install it, you just simply double click it. So you make sure you select add Python 3.9 to path, and you leave it as the default and install now. So it will just take some moments to install, and we'll get to see it says completed. So currently it's installing Python into the system. So we'll just give it some moments and it'll soon be done. So right now we've been able to successfully install Python into the Windows system. So we're going to do two things. We're going to confirm that Python has truly been installed, and the second thing is we are going to install our IDE. So to confirm Python has been installed, there are two ways to do that. The first way is to open up the Python application, line editor, and run the Python code there. Then the second way to do it is to run Python code on your own IDE. So since we've not installed the IDE yet, let's just confirm from the first method. So we're going to check that the Python has been installed, and as you can see here, it says recently added. We have the Python IDLE and the docs and the manual. So we'll click on the IDLE. So once you click on it, it's going to open up the IDLE environment. So you would want to test with a Python code, and let's just try printing the number 4, and it gave us the result. Let's try printing a name. I will say Shade, and it gave us the response. So Python has been confirmed to be installed on this system. So the next step is to install the IDE, and we are going to be using the Windows Visual Studio Code for this tutorial. So you'd want to search for the Visual Studio Code, and it's a free IDE that's created by Microsoft, and it's free to use. So to take you to their website, then you click on the user installer 64-bit based on my system. So it's to open up to save, you will save the installation file. So wait for it to finish downloading, then we install it. So we'll confirm that the installation file has been downloaded, and that is what we have here. So we are going to install this file by clicking on it. So we're going to accept the agreement, and we'll leave all this checked. Install it. So Visual Studio Code has been successfully installed. So click on Finish to open it. And it will launch the Visual Studio Code editor. So why do we need an IDE? An IDE makes it easy for you as a developer to neatly organize your code and also check easily for errors. So it also helps you to run directly from the platform, that's the IDE environment, without having to close or open an external file. Is the easiest way to maintain your code and at the same time run your code. There are other purposes for having an IDE, such as debugging errors and also other extensions that would enable you to deploy your code faster. So we're going to test that Python is working on this IDE. So to do that, we're going to open a folder and you're going to choose the location for where our Python file will be stored before we can run the Python file. But just before we do that, let's install one of the extensions that we require to add some features to our IDE. So as you can see, I've already installed mine. This is what we need to install, and it's developed by Microsoft. So you make sure you install that by just clicking the green button when you see it, and mine has confirmed that it's been installed. So let's go and open a new file. I will open mine in the C drive, and I'm going to create a new folder here in my C drive folder, and I'm going to call it Python projects _ projects. So this is going to be inside this folder. It's going to be where I will place my files that I will be working on. So let's just select the folder to be opened on the IDE. And now we have the folder selected by Visual Studio Code. So to open a new file, we just simply click here. If we want to create a new subfolder under that folder, you click this. But let's just create a Python file, and I will call it start.py. You always reference a Python file by ending it with .py. So we've quickly been able to create our Python file just by clicking on the new file and naming it. So we're going to test our code within the file just to make sure that it's working. So I'll put print 10. So we're going to run it and see what it will do. And we're running the Python file in the terminal. So once we run that, we can see it's giving us 10. So print is a Python syntax to print out variables and other objects. So in this case, it printed out a number 10. So let's try using a name, which is a string, and we're going to run it again. And this time it says biome. So it means that Python is now working on our system, and we've been able to successfully download and install our IDE.